Joey, you're all gonna fucking die up here.
Happy Father's Day.
Hello and welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast, the podcast where three men drink beers and gripe about horror movies.
Walking through the streets of Soho in the rain.
Gotta hold your breath there, Harry. Gotta hold your breath.
Get a big dish of beef chow mein.
Just so everyone's aware, there will be spoilers and plenty of nasty, nasty language.
Terrifying if you ask me.
You and aliens,
Aliens are creepy.
You. They're not creepy.
They're
That movie
mysterious.
scared me the first time they don't exist.
I only saw
They
one.
don't exist. How can they be creepy?
Neither did ghosts.
I didn't say they did I?
Neither
They're
do slasher
the
guys.
Yeah,
Ever.
they do.
Rarely.
People go around slashing
Every
people.
now
I'll
and again.
slash you right through the
I'll
mouth.
slash you in the neck. I'll break this fucking beer right now and stab you in the neck and then what?
Chug it.
I will.
Do it. I think back to how much I used to drink. One night, there was a party at the fire hall, and I drank a whole bottle of Jack Daniels that night and 4 shots of Crown Royal, and I was just absolutely sloppy drunk out on the dance floor, but it was hysterical. I called my brother-in-law who lived in North Carolina. I was like, hey, I need a ride home from the fire hall. He's like, I can be there in 9.5 hours. And I was like, what? He's like, I live in North Carolina. I'm like, oh, God.
Hello! Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast. We're back with an Anthologies episode because it's Halloween. Let's get off to this first. Let's get this off. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Let's get this out of the way. Cobra won last week, and I have serious problems with the voting because, okay, Wes's wife voted for Wes.
Yes.
Cobra's girlfriend voted for Cobra. John's wife voted for Cobra.
Oh.
And Cobra won by 1 vote. So thank you, honey, for that.
How did that happen?
So before we get to the reviews, you have some business to take care of. What movie is he going to watch next week?
You're going to watch The Room.
Never heard of it.
You're a bit of a... Are you in a film class?
Yes.
You'll love this.
It's that one I showed you snippets from.
I can't watch another art film.
Oh.
I don't know what this is. It's not an art film. I don't know what it is.
You'll thank me, I think, after you're done with this.
The son of a bitch told me that I would get it within 3 months.
Is it scary?
It's gut-busting funny.
Tommy
Not
Wiseau's ass is
in
pretty
a
scary.
good way.
What's it supposed to be about?
It starts
What
out...
genre of film is it?
It starts out like a
Oh my
Cinemax
God, isn't
softcore
it?
porn with 2 of the ugliest people you've ever seen.
Oh man, that went from really good to really bad fast.
Yeah.
And about halfway through, they just abandon that idea. And he has to pick a movie.
He's
from
going to
each
watch
it.
Mausoleum.
I don't know what that is.
That is a 1983 horror movie.
Where can I find The Room?
I'll get it to you.
Okay.
If
You
not,
can- I
it's
think
on YouTube.
but-
Yeah, that's where I
Oh.
watched it.
That's how you know it's a great movie when it's free on
Hey, there's some good YouTube movies.
You.
I haven't got any, honestly.
You're about to watch one.
I just watched Sisters by Brian De Palma, which was on YouTube, which wasn't terrible, but also I didn't love.
Doesn't De Palma only have one good movie?
Carrie?
I thought De Palma was going to be better
Carrie's
because
alright, yeah.
I know that I've heard like Tarantino talk about him and how he kind of pays homage to some of his shots, and yet I wasn't impressed by this
No.
Did
movie.
you say homage? Homage? Good, because my girlfriend says homage, and I'm
I suppose it is homage. Isn't it all from French? Isn't everything film derivative of French?
Yes, but
And yet they have no good movies. You would think that they'd be able to come up with something.
that one High Tension was just awful.
There's another one I saw. Wasn't that one that you lent me where the guy or the girl gets put in the basement and
Oh,
butchered?
Martyrs.
Martyrs is French.
Yeah,
It's crap.
I kind of like Martyrs.
It's just a girl getting tortured.
There's a bigger symbol
I know,
behind
but
it.
so what?
What?
Symbol.
I mean,
Symbolism.
yeah, a big
Symbology.
Symbolism.
All right, so today we're doing Trick or Treat, VHS 1 and 2, and Creepshow 1 and 2.
And not to disappoint anybody, it's not Trick or Treat from 1986 with the
Oh,
the
they're all
rockers.
very disappointed. I'm sure they've all heard of it too. How many movies total do we have to talk about today? Like short movies.
Stories?
God,
We have
stories within stories.
a good 40.
4,
Oh, it's ridiculous.
7.
The only one I took notes on is VHS.
I took notes on VHS, Trick or Treat, and Creepshow 2. By the time I got to VHS 2, I was tired.
Yeah.
I think 22.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think we're
That's
gonna.
it?
I don't think we're
That's
gonna.
it? I feel like there's so many more.
Some of them we're just
Well,
gonna touch on.
he
I
was-
think Creepshow 1 was more funny than anything else. A lot of it.
Yeah.
It was pretty goofy. I mean, even Leslie Nielsen, he's trying to be like serious, but he's hilarious.
It's hard now to watch Leslie Nielsen and not think Airplane and The Naked Gun.
The Naked
Yeah.
Gun for sure, yeah. I even saw him in Spy Hard.
Oh, I've not seen Spy Hard.
Wrongfully Accused. I went and saw him.
Oh, that was
I
good.
saw Wrongfully Accused in a little cheap theater. Creepshow's power packed. It's got George Romero, Tom Savini, Stephen King working on it. It's got a lot of good actors. Got
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson, Leslie Nielsen. What's the name of that girl?
Adrian Barbeau.
Adrian Barbeau. And then at the
Al
very beginning,
Holbrook.
Ed Harris is in it.
Ed Harris dances like a fucking
With
weirdo.
Tom
in it.
Atkins. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Atkins is in it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're probably missing somebody too.
Probably. There's a ton of them. There's only one actor I recognize. The second one. They went significantly downward. Second one.
I know just George Kennedy.
That's the only one I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one, it's what Creepshow is basically a bunch of stories from a comic book that this kid has. That's how it all ties together. It's not really a story that ties together like Trick or Treat is later, or like VHS tries to be later but doesn't. Good job.
I don't know how they tie together.
With this, it's just basically a comic book that this little kid has, and his dad keeps yelling at him to stop reading them. That's it. That's the only real thing that ties it together. So the first story is the first story the old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ed Harris is in the first one.
Dancing like a
Just
weirdo.
glaze over it, really. They sit there and they talk about this dead guy and how what a dick he was, and then this 70-year-old woman, who I guess was his wife, goes out to the graveyard with a bottle of Jim Beam and just starts getting hammered and yelling
Whose
at
wife?
the gravestone. The dead guy's wife.
No, it's
Or
his
is it his
daughter.
sister? That's his daughter?
Yeah.
Shit, how old was he?
He was really old.
Because she was like 70.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's his daughter.
Yeah,
Because he keeps saying about how they're all money hungry and shit like that.
all I remember is something about cake. Honestly,
Do
this
you,
one.
you bitch?
Uh.
He's like beating his cane up, and sure, it's pretty annoying, and she gets fed up with it and just cracks him in the head with a... Now this ashtray, marble ashtray looking thing, it was in at least 4 out of the 5 creep shows. That might tie it together, that ashtray.
Maybe.
I don't know, I didn't see it in the one, but I wasn't paying attention until I just noticed it, like in the 4th one, that I noticed it in 3 of them. I'm like,
That's very interesting.
yeah.
Did this have
so if you
separate
get a chance
directors
to watch it.
for all 5 stories, or was it just separate writers directed by the same guy, or do you know how it was done?
I have no idea.
No idea.
No, I don't either. Oh wow, we're uninformed. Look it up, everybody.
Surprise.
IMDb. Okay, so basically this guy comes out of the ground, kills his daughter, and then kills Ed Harris, drops a stone on his head.
What was he? He had 20 seconds to move, and he just lays
He's
there
like,
in that
"Oh!"
grave. Oh yeah.
He just took it.
Well, the old
Through
man
all
comes
these
back
like
and
this.
kills
And
the
he-
rest of the
He saunters
family.
off. Yeah, he kills the family. He kills some people in the kitchen, if I remember right.
Yeah.
He saunters off into the sunset. And I don't know if somebody's going to find him at some point and be like, put him back in the ground. It cuts back and forth. It goes back to the kid in his room again. But I don't think
but I
it
don't
takes
know.
very long with that.
Yeah, they didn't do a
Probably-
whole lot with
We
that.
can probably skip right over that. No, the second one was Stephen King,
Oh yeah, that was.
who I thought was fantastic.
Oh, it was boring though. Oh yeah, that was.
Who I thought was fantastic.
Oh, it was boring though.
I just liked how good he looked as a crazy person, cross-eyed, and you know he's got a meteor in his hands, and he's like $200, no less.
Well, what was $200 back in 1982?
He's trying to pay off
$300? I don't know. He's
in 82. I think that's a stretch.
5 times the amount in 82 is
Really?
what a dollar's worth.
Are you just
No
making
way.
that up off the top of your head?
You know what I'm saying?
Let's say 3.
You think it's only worth?
That's what, a 50% increase, right?
I have to feel that it's way more than.
Really?
So basically, he touches a meteor, and
It's too hot to touch.
yeah,
He
There's like a
throws
blue,
water on it.
yeah.
And it
blue
cracks open.
liquid that comes out of it.
Yeah.
That kind of gets on his hand, and he's like, "What's his name in it?" He just
I can't remember what his name
You
is.
idiot! He just keeps calling himself like a dummy or.
That's
an
all I
idiot.
remember. It's fun of himself, and he doesn't really do anything. He just stays in his house.
Yeah, he goes in the house and watches. I think at one point there's a baseball game on and
He just sits there and
the
literally
news.
He vegetates. Wow, John, way to go!
That's amazing.
So he starts noticing green shit on his. Is it his hand first, and then he tries to watch it, or did
His
he get some on
fingers,
his
and he put it in his
face?
mouth, and yeah.
And he pretty much just turns into a fucking green plant life with the rest of his whole house and the street and everything.
Yeah, and that's it.
It just spread.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to catch the dialogue parts, check out the movie, but really it's just him turning into a vegetable.
Yeah.
The ghost of his father shows up and says not to take a bath. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that, and then I assume is what causes the plants to spread?
I
Is
think
getting it
so.
wet?
I don't know. He jumped in the
Because
the
I remember
bathtub.
at the end it says something like on the news about some storms are coming or some rain is coming, which is like an implication that it's just going to keep spreading throughout the town or something like that.
Could be.
All right. Okay, so this starts out with Leslie Nielsen going in and talking to Ted Danson right away, saying that he knows that him and his wife have been seeing each other.
And they both have wonderful hair, by
Oh,
the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And he says, well, I mean, Ted Danson says, well, I mean, there's no alimony.
Was
When's
this
the marriage?
before Cheers?
I don't know. When did Cheers start?
Cheers came out in the 80s, I think. I just don't know what year.
This was 82, so I don't know.
I have to think Cheers came out after 82.
Mhm.
So this was before he was Sam Malone.
Yeah.
So he pretty much tells Ted Danson that he's got his, if he wants to see the wife again, he's got to come with him so he can see her. So he,
I love not using the character names.
I don't know what any of their names are in this
we're gonna
whole
call
movie.
him Sam Malone, and we're gonna call what was it, Frank Drebin.
Drebin.
Yeah.
Drebin. So Sam and Frank go for a drive down to the beach. Frank owns some shoreline property for miles and miles, and there's a shovel on the beach, and he tells Ted Danson to start digging. And Ted Danson's like, "No, I want to see this girl. Where is she?" And he starts to turn around with the shovel, and Leslie Nielsen has a gun. Or Frank Drebin, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
So he tells him to start digging, and he digs. And then he buries him up to his head. And he puts a TV there, and he turns it on, and his wife is also buried up to his head. And he's making Ted Danson watch
His wife,
his wife
as the tide comes in.
as the tide comes in, correct. And he's making like funny remarks about how she needs to hold her breath, and he goes home, and the tide drowns them both.
Success, right?
He thinks, yeah. So I think he just kind of hears a noise. Now he goes back to collect all of his television, his electronical shit, and the bodies are gone. He said, oh, the tide must have washed them
Yeah.
away. Then he goes back to his home, and they come back from the dead, and they're all watery, and they kind of, do they kill him? They get him. I don't
Well,
know.
she shoots her in the head, or he shoots her in the head.
And water kind of
Water comes
pours out.
I assume he dies because it just kind of cuts away. But Leslie Nielsen plays a creepy person. Terrific. I don't know how these comedian actors, these comedy actors, pull off creepy so well. Maybe there's like a close similarity between being funny and being creepy.
I believe there's a deep pain involved in anybody who pursues comedy. I used to love The Crate. I think that's what, when I think of Creepshow, that's what I think of.
It looks like the most like an 80s horror movie. The way it's filmed and the way like all the shots are filmed and that. Creature itself is creepy and like long hallway shots and it's very 80s. Does have lots of point of view shots. Is all the 80s were about. So.
Is this stars a janitor? Is that the guy that finds the crate?
The janitor finds a crate at is it a university?
Some kind of a school, I thought.
Yeah, definitely a school, because either the dean or the principal gets a phone call and he's like, you gotta come down here and check this out. And
Where's the crate from?
like 1865, or 18...
Oh, it's like an
Is it like
archaeological dig or something?
What was it? I can't even remember. It says it so many times, too. That's why I should have took notes.
So, who does the janitor, what's his goal?
The janitor...
Doesn't he want to kill somebody?
No, it's not the janitor, it's Hal Holbrook. He wants to kill his wife at one point.
Yeah.
Because she's so obnoxious. What would you do without me? It's Adrienne Barbeau, who is.
He's the main lady in Swamp Thing. That's the only thing I know her as.
And she's in The Fog.
Oh, I tend to forget about the fog. This creature gets loose, and doesn't the janitor just mop up the mud every time he kills somebody?
I think he kills the janitor, and then the
Eventually he
Dean.
does kill the janitor.
Yeah. I don't know what does Dean want to own the creature, or
You know what? I don't know.
I don't know what is going on with it.
His intentions are very unclear. You terrible screenwriters. It's not our fault for half watching the movie and not taking notes. It's your fault for writing a bad story.
That's right.
That's really all I remember from that one. I don't remember anything about. I remember the shots of the crate and the way it looked and how I thought it was its own horror movie when I saw it. And there was more to it, and I'm like, what happened? But
Yeah, that monster just keeps eating people, and how Hallberg gets Adrian Barbeau killed, and that's kind of the end of it.
What's after that one? The cockroaches?
yeah, not much to. Really, they're just 5 very simple stories.
Yeah, it's like an asshole old man that.
He locks himself away from everybody, and he considers society cockroaches. So
Did he
gets
like?
infested by cockroaches.
Did he sell a company or do something with a company? Because that that woman keeps calling and be like, "My husband just died," and he's like, "Wow, that's what he deserved, you fuckhead," or I don't know what he just kept going on and on, talking about people. He's talking about someone getting herpes too. I think I'm pretty sure. He calls an exterminator come to his house a few times, and I don't think that there's bugs there, so you kind of think he's going crazy. You know what I mean? The one time the exterminator's like, "What are you doing? There's no bugs." But
So is the whole thing a metaphor about...
It's how he feels about society, but it's laced in, or it's covered up by gross cockroaches, so it allows you to not think too deep, even though it really is a pretty deep story. Of all the 5 of them, it's probably the best written, well thought out.
And then cockroaches come out of his body in the very end.
Yeah, that's what kind of, people don't remember what it's really about. They remember cockroaches coming out of his mouth at the end. So, that's it for Creepshow 1. Did anything happen at the end with Comic and the dad or something like that?
Yes. He had the voodoo doll section cut out of the magazine because at one point they cut to these 2 guys. It's Tom Savini and somebody else flipping through it, and they're like, "Oh, the voodoo thing's cut out," or whatever. And the kid gets it, and he starts poking it, and Tom Atkins at the end is like, "Ah, ah!" He keeps hitting him in the neck, and he's like, "Ah!" And
So
he's like, "I'll get you,
It
Dad."
annoys him a whole lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn neck cramps.
So that was about it.
That's it for part. What do you guys give it?
I would consider that one of the... It was probably the first anthology horror movie I've ever seen. I probably saw it when I was 10 or 12 years old, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in probably the last 5 years, but from what I remember, I would probably give that one a 5. I thought it had a nice, diverse group of stories. I mostly remembered sort of images of the crate when I think of Creepshow, and I think that was my favorite of the stories.
I give it a 6 out of 10. Overall, it's fairly good, and George Romero is a pretty good director, even though, we don't know
If he even directed it, who knows? I don't know.
We had
But,
no
yeah,
nudity in this one?
5 different stories. There's no nudity in this at all.
I'll give it a 5. It's pretty good. It's not great. It's 3 guys doing a really good job. I think. Really, that's about it. I mean, I think, actually. There wasn't any that were too terrible. A little slow, but, yeah, 5 out of 10. Creepshow 2, on the other hand, I found it to be really choppy.
Yeah.